Boise State is Arizona bound once again for the bowl season. The Broncos will play in the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl against Baylor on December 27th. To talk about the Broncos and their upcoming bowl matchup, we brought in the former offensive lineman and current radio analyst for the Broncos, Pete Cavender. Pete, appreciate you making some time. The Broncos are 3-0 all-time in bowl games in Phoenix, which includes the 2014 Fiesta Bowl, where Thomas Spurbeck was sensational. He was named Offensive MVP in that bowl game. He's now playing his final game as a Bronco. He's the all-time leader in receiving yards in school history. In your opinion, where does he rank among the all-time greats at that position for Boise State?
Well, really, Boise State's been pretty fortunate to have a lot of good wide receivers come through. I mean, you look traditionally, a lot of big playmakers like guys like Jay Swilly, Tim Gilligan, T.J. Acree. One of the Fiesta Bowl years, you look at Dryzen James, Gerard Rabb, Legadou Nane. Then you got Titus Young, Austin Pettis, all kinds of guys, Matt Miller. And I think that the one thing that kind of makes Thomas Spurbeck unique is he's just a master of his craft. He's got in as a young kid, was really kind of question mark where he was going to play, if he was going to be maybe safety or wide receiver, and was an understudy to Matt Miller, who was on set to break a lot of those records that Boise State had until he fell down with an injury. That's when Thomas Spurbeck came on, and because of that work ethic and sitting back and learning from Matt Miller is really why he emerged the scene like he has, to be an explosive player, extremely competitive, and probably the most important thing with him is just he's been consistent. He's a guy that goes in spring ball, fall camp, it doesn't matter. He's going to give you his all, loves to compete. And I don't know if we maybe say he's the best wide receiver in Boise State history, even though he has the most receiving yards in Bronco history, but he's definitely been one of the most reliable guys. And usually when we throw the football to number 82, he's going to come down with the catch.
The trio of Brett Rippon, Jeremy McNichols, and Thomas Spurbeck have been fantastic in their career, and they're the first trio in Mountain West history to go back-to-back 3,000, 1,000, 1,000-yard seasons. Talking about a 3,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, and 1,000-yard receiver. Jeremy McNichols, at a team banquet, was named the team MVP. Why was he the guy that was named the full team MVP?
Well, really, you look at the offense, it's just been explosive. So you said you got 3,000-yard passer in Rippon, a 1,000-yard receiver in Spurbeck, and we also have another 1,000-yard receiver in Cedric Wilson. And then if you're going to be technical, you can say Jeremy McNichols is a 2,000-yard guy when you add in his rushing and his receiving threat. And in my mind, that's why I think kind of makes Jeremy McNichols a special player. Not only the MVP of the Boise State football team, but personally, if I had a vote, he probably would have got my vote for conference player of the football season for the Mountain West Conference. You look at what he's been able to do, averaging 5.6 yards per carry average against teams like BYU, two Pac-12 schools. And there's no question the Mountain Division has been more competitive top to bottom than the West. So I think he's had the tougher road to hoe than some of his other counterparts. Don't discredit anything that they've done. Humphrey and Hill have been amazing at San Diego State and Wyoming. But McNichols is one of those special backs, and talking about some all-time greats, you've seen guys like Doug Martin, Jay Ajayi run through, who playing on Sundays, all Pro Bowl caliber type of running backs. And I think Jeremy McNichols, as a junior, might be better than both of those guys. So Boise's been very fortunate to see guys like Doug Martin, Jay Ajayi, like I said, come through. But Jeremy McNichols, hands down, is a special player.
So good in a variety of ways. The Broncos defense was shorthanded in the season finale against Air Force. Tanner Vallejo and Joe Martorano at the linebacker position, both injured. How will that affect the preparation defensively for Baylor?
I think it's very tough. You look at Tanner Vallejo, in my mind, one of my favorite players to watch the last couple of seasons. We saw him one of the first games of the year, the first home opener for Boise State against Washington State, and Coach Leach, head coach of the Cougars, said that their wide receivers are scared of number 20, and that's because he just goes out there and plays with the reckless abandon, extremely physical. Usually when we talked to him post-game of the game, he'd have blood trickling down from his nose, and just one of those old school players. And so missing him, and then a guy like Joe Martorano, who's extremely athletic, who's finally starting to get healthy, making plays on defense, it's a huge loss for Boise State. And if there's been one issue with the Broncos this year, it's been depth at the defensive line position that now contribute the linebackers in there, so really the front seven. So it's going to be important for Boise State when they get in third down situations against Baylor to get those stops, try to get off the football field, give yourself a breather, because there's just not a whole lot of depth behind them.
Pete, I appreciate your insight on the Broncos all season, and enjoy your home away from home, Phoenix, Arizona.
Arizona's treated us well, so hopefully we got fourth time's a charm.
Let's make it 4 in a row. Pete, appreciate the time. You can watch the Broncos and the Bears in the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl at 8:15 Mountain Time on ESPN. From the Mountain West Network studio, I'm Jesse Kurtz.